Pi Network is no longer just an experiment in mobile mining, it's becoming a lifestyle. Imagine walking into a restaurant, enjoying a fine meal, and paying with Pi. Picture yourself booking a ticket to your dream destination or checking into a luxury hotel without ever touching fiat currency. From shopping sprees in Asia to travel adventures in Europe, pioneers are already living this reality. While most cryptos are still making promises, Pi has stepped into action. Enterprises across the globe are beginning to recognize its value and integrate it into real-world services. This isn't a prediction, it's the present. 2025 marks the year Pi moved from vision to utility, from hype to habit. If you're a pioneer, it's not just about holding Pi anymore, it's about spending Pi, living Pi, and being part of a financial revolution reshaping daily life. Let's first greet and welcome you all, Pioneer family scattered across every corner of this beautiful planet. Whether you're tuning in from the bustling streets of Lagos, the vibrant cities of Manila, the tech hubs of Jakarta, the financial centers of London, or anywhere else this amazing community calls home, you are exactly where you need to be right now. Before we dive deep into this groundbreaking news that's reshaping the entire cryptocurrency landscape, I need to see the power of our global pioneer network in action. Just join our community by smash subscribe button and ring notification bell if you haven't already. Also comment PI Network to the moon along with your country name to paint this comment section with flags from every nation and show the world that Pi Network isn't just a cryptocurrency. It's a global revolution with real people making real changes in their everyday lives. I'm Nathan, and what I'm about to reveal in the next several minutes will fundamentally shift everything you thought you knew about Pi Network's timeline toward mainstream adoption. We're not talking about theoretical roadmaps or empty promises anymore. We're talking about documented cases of travelers completing entire international vacations paid exclusively in PI, restaurant owners in Southeast Asia reporting that Pi transactions now represent 20% of their daily revenue, and major hospitality chains quietly running pilot programs that could change the travel industry forever. Plus, I'll expose the exact reasons why forward-thinking enterprises are choosing Pi over established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and what this strategic positioning means for every single pioneer who's been patiently mining and holding their Pi through the development years. Let's now get started. Let me transport you to a scenario that sounds like science fiction, but is actually documented reality happening across multiple continents right now. Picture Maria, a software engineer from Barcelona who decided to test Pi Network's real-world utility by planning her dream vacation to Southeast Asia using exclusively PiCoin. What started as an experiment became a revelation that's being shared across pioneer communities worldwide. Maria's journey began when she discovered that several boutique hotels in Thailand had quietly begun accepting Pi payments through specialized payment processors developed by community members. Not content to stop there, she found independent tour operators in Vietnam offering cultural experiences, cooking classes, and even multi-day adventure packages with Pi as the preferred payment method. But here's where it gets truly remarkable. Her return flight was booked through a travel agency in Amsterdam that had partnered with Pi-accepting airlines for experimental routes between Europe and Asia. This isn't an isolated incident orchestrated for publicity. Travel industry insiders are reporting a quiet but significant shift happening behind the scenes. Small and medium-sized hospitality businesses across Southeast Asia, where mobile-based financial solutions have already disrupted traditional banking, are finding Pi Network's transaction efficiency and growing user base impossible to ignore. Unlike established cryptocurrencies that require expensive conversion processes and technical infrastructure, Pi's streamlined approach allows even family-run guesthouses and local transportation providers to accept digital payments without overwhelming complexity. The implications extend far beyond individual success stories. When travelers can navigate entire journeys using a single digital currency that represents their participation in a global, decentralized community, we're witnessing the emergence of an entirely new economic ecosystem. Imagine the psychological shift from viewing Pi as numbers on a mobile screen to experiencing it as tangible value that opens doors, creates experiences, and connects cultures across international boundaries. The transformation extends beyond travel into the daily commerce experiences that define modern life. In major cities across Indonesia, China, and various European markets where Pi communities have reached critical mass, a fascinating retail evolution is unfolding. Electronics stores, clothing boutiques, and even grocery markets are discovering that accepting Pi payments provides access to millions of engaged users who have been eagerly waiting for opportunities to utilize their digital holdings in meaningful ways. What makes this particularly compelling is the organic nature of this adoption. These aren't corporate partnerships announced with fanfare and marketing campaigns. Instead, individual business owners are making calculated decisions based on observing customer demand and community growth patterns. Restaurant owners in Jakarta report that Pi-paying customers tend to be more engaged, more likely to recommend establishments to friends, and more interested in supporting businesses that embrace innovative payment solutions. The dining experiences are particularly noteworthy because they represent the kind of spontaneous, everyday transactions that truly test a currency's practical utility. When someone can decide on a whim to try a new restaurant and pay for their meal using Pi without conversion hassles, planning delays, or technical complications, that currency has crossed the threshold from experimental technology to functional money. These casual dining transactions, multiplied across thousands of establishments and millions of users, create the foundation for a self-sustaining economic ecosystem that operates independently of traditional financial gatekeepers. The acceleration of enterprise adoption reveals sophisticated strategic thinking that goes far beyond simple payment processing. Forward-thinking businesses are recognizing that Pi Network's methodical development approach, which prioritizes ecosystem building over speculative trading, offers unique advantages that align with long-term business sustainability rather than short-term market volatility. Community trust emerges as perhaps the most valuable asset in this equation. Pi Network's user base, now exceeding 60 million globally, represents more than statistics. It represents millions of individuals who have invested time, attention, and belief in a shared vision of accessible digital finance. When businesses accept Pi, they're not just processing transactions, they're joining a movement that values inclusivity, accessibility, and community-driven growth over institutional control and exclusionary practices. Transaction efficiency provides another compelling advantage that becomes more apparent as businesses gain experience with various cryptocurrency payment systems. While established cryptocurrencies often struggle with network congestion, high fees, and slow confirmation times, Pi's architecture prioritizes the kind of smooth, cost-effective transactions that retail and service businesses require for daily operations. This efficiency translates directly into better customer experiences and improved operational margins for merchants. The decentralized vision aspect resonates particularly strongly with enterprises looking to position themselves at the forefront of Web3 adoption without committing to systems that might become obsolete or economically unsustainable. By accepting Pi, businesses signal their commitment to innovation and inclusivity while avoiding the technical and financial barriers associated with more complex blockchain integrations. Perhaps most importantly, early adopters gain significant marketing advantages within Pi Network's engaged community. Businesses that embrace Pi payments often report increased visibility, customer loyalty, and word-of-mouth recommendations that extend far beyond their immediate geographic markets. None of this remarkable progress exists in isolation. The PiCore team, working alongside thousands of community developers, has been systematically building the infrastructure that supports real-world adoption at scale. The introduction of Pi domains creates memorable, accessible addresses for businesses and services within the Pi ecosystem. Decentralized applications provide specialized tools for everything from inventory management to customer loyalty programs. marketplace platforms offer venues where Pi holders can discover and engage with Pi-accepting businesses across multiple industries and geographic regions. This comprehensive ecosystem development approach explains why Pi Network's adoption feels more organic and sustainable compared to other cryptocurrency projects that focus primarily on exchange listings and speculative trading. By creating genuine utility and fostering real economic activity before pursuing major exchange listings, Pi Network builds the foundation for lasting value rather than temporary price appreciation driven by speculation. The real question that's keeping me up at night and should be keeping you excited is whether Pi can reach $50 or even $100. And after diving deep into the fundamental analysis, market dynamics, and adoption metrics, I believe the answer is absolutely yes. The path to $100 isn't just possible, it's becoming increasingly probable with each passing day. Let me tell you about the 3 major factors that top analysts believe will decide Pi's future. And these are the exact same factors that turn Bitcoin from worthless digital tokens into the most valuable cryptocurrency in the world. Understanding these factors is crucial because they represent the difference between life-changing wealth and missing out on the opportunity of the century. The first game changer is major exchange listings, and this is where Pi Network is positioned for explosive growth. If big platforms like Binance or Coinbase announce Pi listing, it could spark a massive price rally that makes early investors incredibly wealthy overnight. We've seen this pattern repeatedly throughout crypto history. Small coins with strong fundamentals get listed on major exchanges and suddenly explode 10x, 50x, or even 100x in a matter of days or weeks. The trading volume and exposure that comes with major exchange listings creates buying pressure that can send prices into the stratosphere, and Pi Network has all the fundamentals that major exchanges look for. The second factor is ecosystem growth, and this is where Pi is absolutely crushing every other cryptocurrency project in the space. As more apps and services start accepting Pi for real-world transactions, demand for the coin will naturally increase through genuine utility rather than just speculation. We're not just talking about people buying Pi hoping someone else will pay more later. We're talking about real-world utility that creates genuine, sustainable demand. When people can use Pi to buy coffee, pay for services, book travel, shop online, and conduct their daily transactions, that's when the magic happens, and prices can sustain massive valuations. The third factor is regulatory approvals, and this is absolutely crucial for institutional adoption. Clear rules from governments will determine whether Pi becomes a mainstream financial tool or remains a niche cryptocurrency. If regulations are favorable and provide clarity, institutional money will flood in like we've never seen before. If they turn strict and create barriers, it could slow down Pi's growth temporarily. But based on what I'm seeing globally, with countries like El Salvador adopting Bitcoin and the European Union creating crypto-friendly frameworks, the regulatory environment is becoming more supportive every single day. Let me give you my detailed price predictions based on careful analysis, realistic scenarios, and comparison with other successful cryptocurrency projects. These aren't just random numbers, they're based on market cap analysis, adoption curves, and historical precedent from similar projects. In the short term, over the next few weeks to months, if momentum picks up and we break through current resistance levels around 63 cents, Pi could easily revisit its previous highs of $1.50 to $3. That's already a 3x to 5x return from current prices, which would be incredible gains in traditional markets, but that's just the beginning of what's possible with Pi Network. The technical setup suggests we could see this move happen faster than most people expect. Medium term, by 2025, with strong adoption metrics and major exchange listings creating massive exposure, Pi could realistically reach $10 to $50 per coin. This isn't wishful thinking or unrealistic expectations. This is based on careful analysis of market cap potential and adoption curves. When I look at other cryptocurrencies that have achieved similar user bases and ecosystem development, these price targets become very achievable and even conservative. Long-term, by 2030 and beyond, if Pi successfully builds a solid crypto economy with mass global adoption, optimistic forecasts suggest prices between $50 to $100 are not just possible, but highly probable. The combination of limited circulating supply, massive user base, and real-world utility could create the perfect conditions for sustained high valuations. However, and I need to be completely honest here, because I respect my audience too much to sugarcoat anything, if adoption slows significantly, or early miners start selling off their massive holdings all at once, prices might remain under $10. This is why understanding market dynamics and timing is absolutely critical for maximizing returns. Here's what's absolutely incredible about Pi Network and why it's different from every other cryptocurrency project out there. It already has over 50 million registered users, which is mind-blowing when you really think about it. The ripple effects of Pi Network's practical adoption are creating success stories that span continents and industries in ways that traditional financial systems never could have imagined. In the Philippines, small business owners who previously struggled with expensive international payment processing fees are now serving customers from around the world who pay in Pi. These entrepreneurs report that Pi transactions have opened new revenue streams and customer bases that were previously inaccessible due to traditional banking limitations and currency conversion costs. Boutique hotels in Amsterdam, family restaurants in Rome, and artisan craft shops in Prague are discovering that Pi-paying customers often become their most loyal advocates, sharing experiences across social media platforms and Pi community channels in ways that generate organic marketing far more valuable than traditional advertising campaigns. The technology sector shows perhaps the most innovative PI integration examples. Software development companies, digital marketing agencies, and online service providers are building entire business models around Pi payments, creating subscription services, consulting packages, and digital products specifically designed for the Pi ecosystem. These businesses operate with lower overhead costs, faster payment processing, and direct access to a global customer base that shares common values around decentralized finance and community-driven economic participation. While current achievements provide compelling evidence of Pi Network's growing practical utility, the broader implications suggest we're witnessing the early stages of a fundamental shift in how people and businesses approach digital finance. The vision of a financial system that includes everyone, not just those with existing wealth or technical sophistication, is materializing through thousands of daily transactions that prove decentralized finance can be both accessible and practical. Consider the psychological transformation happening within the Pi community itself. Pioneers who began mining Pi as an experimental curiosity are now making real-world purchasing decisions based on Pi acceptance. This shift from speculative holding to active spending creates the economic velocity necessary for any currency to achieve mainstream viability. When Pi holders actively seek out Pi-accepting businesses and choose those merchants over traditional alternatives, they create market incentives that accelerate adoption across entire industry sectors. The network effects become particularly powerful when Pi acceptance reaches critical mass in specific geographic regions or industry verticals. Cities with active Pi communities often see adoption spread rapidly from early adopter businesses to their competitors who recognize the competitive advantage of serving Pi users. This organic expansion pattern creates sustainable growth driven by genuine economic utility rather than speculative investment trends that characterize much of the broader cryptocurrency market. Challenges certainly remain as Pi Network scales toward truly global adoption. Broader regulatory clarity will be essential as adoption scales across different jurisdictions with varying cryptocurrency policies. Enhanced merchant tools will be necessary to support businesses of all sizes and technical capabilities. Continued focus on security and scalability will be critical as transaction volumes increase and the network serves increasingly diverse use cases across multiple continents and economic sectors. The careful, methodical approach demonstrated by the Pi core team, suggests these challenges are being addressed proactively rather than reactively. By prioritizing ecosystem development, utility creation, and regulatory compliance before pursuing exchange listings, Pi Network positions itself for sustainable growth that benefits all participants, rather than primarily serving speculative traders who might destabilize the practical economy that's currently developing. The use of Pi for traveling, shopping, dining, and countless other everyday services has evolved from forum discussions and chat group dreams into documented reality happening across multiple continents. This transformation reflects not just technological achievement, but a fundamental demonstration that financial participation can be inclusive, accessible, and built for everyone's future rather than restricted to existing financial elites. As one community member perfectly captured the essence of this movement, Pi isn't just a coin, it's a revolution in how we think about money, community, and global economic participation. And while challenges lie ahead, the progress documented today suggests that Pi Network's journey toward mainstream adoption isn't just underway. It's accelerating with the momentum that comes from millions of people working together toward a shared vision of financial freedom and global economic inclusion.